The New York Times has reported that the intelligence disclosed to the Russians by President Donald Trump was from Israeli intelligence sources. And joining me now on the phone is former Major General of Israeli Mossad, Danny Yatom. Danny, thank you so much for joining us. So, of course, this comes at a critical time as Trump is about to embark on his trip to Israel. First, I do want to ask you, though, what kind of effect do you think this is going to have on the intelligence community there in Israel?
Well, we have firstly to assume that the information published in the press is the right one and not a fake one, because the White House denies the allegations made by the press in the United States. But if it is true, the situation is very bad, because usually among allies, there is a flow of information, part of which is very, very sensitive. And the rule is that this information is kept very strictly. If the publication is true, it means that even though this is an intelligence information that was conveyed by Israeli sources, and the American security apparatuses were asked not to share it with any third side. If this was not the case and it was shared with the Russians, it might have a negative effect on the nature of the relations between the Israeli apparatuses and the American apparatuses, meaningly mainly that in Israel we will think twice before conveying very sensitive information to the American apparatuses.
So you're saying that the intelligence community would think potentially twice about communicating more information. So that sounds like it's going to complicate things, especially in a region that, certainly needs to have open communication about what is going on there. So how can this be repaired, you think?
Well, it can be repaired by asking again the Americans not to do it, not to convey such nature of information, which is very, very sensitive. And probably after a short period of time, the relations will be recovered, unless the phenomena of conveying information to third party, a sensitive one, will continue. If such behavior will continue, then I assume that although it is very, very important and vital to share intelligence information, in order to fight in a more efficient way terror and to tackle with the other problems, it will be even more important to protect the sources, which means that if the behavior continues, then probably the effect will be the one that I just described.
Okay, Danny, so critics have charged that lives can be in danger. And if a potential cover was blown by this information, what kind of repercussions are there?
Well, when we speak about the sensitive information, it means that, generally speaking, all the intelligence information is sensitive. But once we emphasize that this is a very sensitive information, it means that it is a unique one, that was breached by special efforts. And the results of sharing the information with the Russians might be very bad. Like, for instance, there are publications already that the information was transferred to Iran. Once it is transferred to Iran, and Iran is an Israeli enemy, one of our enemies, then it means that instead of serving the war against the terror, and instead of serving the relations between us and the Americans, it is going to serve the Iranians.
All right, Danny Yatom, former head of Israeli Mossad, thank you so much for joining us.